Cryptocurrency is the money of the future. Buy cryptocurrency, it will cost 100 times more than today. I'm sure this was the first thing you heard when you learned about cryptocurrency. But in reality, it's one of the most successful financial pyramids in history that you are participating in today. The thing is, it breaks all the laws of modern economics, so from the beginning of its existence, it has had no and cannot have any value. You've all heard that cryptocurrency is blockchain technology that is not controlled by the state, and Bitcoin has a limit on the number of existing Bitcoins, so it's a great investment that will protect you from inflation and bring money because you can't just take it and print it like money. In reality, this is its disadvantage, not an advantage. Do you know why the government prints money? The government is a tool that exists to distribute money from the rich to the poor population, and the government has all the tools for this. We're all used to working for money, right? Because without them it is impossible to buy groceries or perform surgery, which is why they are so important. There are many important professions that make our environment the way we see it today. Someone cleans garbage, someone builds houses, someone grows food, and many of these professions are sponsored by the government. So what should the government do if it simply runs out of money to pay these workers? Not paying money is clearly not an option because development will stop right away, so they need to pay, but where to get the money? The government has several solutions for this. The first is to borrow money, which America does every day, and its debt already amounts to about $34 trillion. But what if borrowing is not an option? Taxes can be raised and take a share of the money from those who have it, but the rich don't want to just give it away, so how do you make them share? They came up with a brilliant solution to this situation, namely printing money, because if you print money, you devalue it, but it still has value, and so the rich become poorer, and the poor get money to survive. So they do this not to devalue your $100 due to inflation, they do it to pay salaries to people. Because the government has a lot of expenses, such as military expenses, social security, and other equally important areas. That was the first reason why governments will never switch to Bitcoin, because they cannot print it, and if all Bitcoins are owned by the rich, you simply won't have anything to live on. That's the first problem with Bitcoin, and there are actually many more. Here are a few examples. In our world, there are more than 100 countries, and each of these countries has its own currency. Do you know why? The thing is, each country has its own economy. Someone can buy technologies, raw materials, exotic products, and someone like in African countries has only sand, so which currency would you hold? The one that can buy all possible products and services, or just sand? The answer is obvious, and that's why sometimes one American dollar can cost tens of thousands of times more than some African currency. And what will happen when all countries switch to Bitcoin? Now, do you understand? Each country thinks only about itself and has its own opportunities, so forget about all countries ever settling in Bitcoins. It's simply impossible. Maybe someday in the future, countries will create their own cryptocurrencies, but they will never switch to your favorite Bitcoins or Ethers. Forget about it. Those were the explanations why countries cannot switch to Bitcoin, but that's not its main problem. We've already learned that each currency has its value because you can buy something with it in some country, but is there any value in Bitcoin that you can buy something with? If I come to the bank asking for money and say I have land but not enough money for seeds to plant a crop, and if you give me money for this, I'll sell vegetables and return the money with interest, the bank will be interested because even if there's a tornado or drought and I don't have vegetables to sell, the bank can take the land plot. But if a person comes asking for money and says that if he doesn't return it, you can take Bitcoins, the bank will think that person is foolish because what value does Bitcoin have? It has no value because it doesn't exist, and it doesn't produce anything. You can use land to grow vegetables or build a house, but what can you do with Bitcoin? Right, you can only sell it to another person. So let's say it again, Bitcoin has no value and produces nothing, so how can you sell it for more than it's worth today? Because if you bought it, you plan to do so because that's the only way to make money. If I were the owner of Bitcoin, I would write everywhere that Bitcoin is the future. Bitcoin is digital gold. Buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin will be $1 million. Hurry to buy. Does it remind you of anything? Today, everyone is doing that, and you're buying. Just think about it, somewhere in the world, there's a person printing Bitcoin in the basement, and you've been working for a month on a construction site and bringing him money. This is ridiculous. Never buy Bitcoin, it's a lie, forget about it. If I had something so valuable that I knew it would cost $1 million in 10 years, I would keep quiet and not tell anyone about it, and I would try to buy more of it, But with Bitcoin, everything is the opposite. Everyone says it will be worth $1 million, but remember, when you buy Bitcoin, someone on the other side is selling it. Subscribe to my channel to know how to really make money through investments.